journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Jackie Bertoni. You are tuned into Jackie's Groove here on the EnterTalk Radio Network, your leading voice in music talk. We are waiting patiently for our guest to sign on in the studio. We're having a little glitch behind us, but we'll get through this. Again, Jackie's Groove is brought to you once a week, live at 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time here on, again, EnterTalk Radio. Our specialty here is we're bringing you, the listener, behind the velvet rope, and kind of bringing you backstage, kind of giving the overall vibe of what it's like to be in the business. If you are in the business, you understand what it's like, and if you don't, then we hopefully will bring you behind that, give you the feeling of being in our shoes. So I'm really proud to bring on, I'm really actually privileged. I met this amazing vocalist, guitarist, singer-songwriter, producer, I think about 2 months ago when she was doing another show. We seemed to chop it up really well when I called in as a guest interviewer, if you will. And when we launched Jackie's Groove, it was her request to be on the show, and I couldn't be more proud. So I want everybody to welcome to the studio with open ears and open arms my dear friend, my newest best friend. Please welcome Marcella Detroit to Jackie's Groove.
Hi there.
Marcella, how are you, honey?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
You know what? It's Monday. It's cloudy. We had hail out here in the studio, but we're alive. There's no Noah's Ark floating by. We're good.
Right, yeah, we were woken up by this crazy thunderstorm at 5:30 in the morning, and then it just started pouring so hard. I thought, oh, my God, my house is going to fall. My roof's going to cave in. It was bizarre, man.
You know, it's amazing in California we're in such desperate need of water, but, of course, we don't need to get it in 2 days, and seems to be the regular situation, so we welcome it with open arms also. Marcella,
right?
Her also her AKA, or her real name is Marcella Levy, correct me if I'm wrong?
That's right.
And you grew up in the wonderful city of Detroit, hence the last name.
Yeah, I chose that name after working with Clapton for the second time in 1985, I was introduced to a girl from Bananarama named Siobhan Fahy. My friend lived across the street from her in L.A. in a community there called Encino, and he and I had written lots of songs together for Clapton and lots of other people, Shaka Khan and stuff, and he introduced himself to them and then invited me to come and write with them because she was going to leave Bananarama, and that's really how it started. When I started working with Shakespeare's Sister, that was the band that I joined with her. It started off where I was a hired hand, and then as it became, my sound became more integral to the actual sound of the band. I was asked to become a 50% member, but it was suggested also that I change my name to be, instead of just, to give me a new lease on life, so to speak, from being just seen as this background singer, to have, another opportunity. And so I chose, my name is Marcella. I was given that name, never given a middle name, no, and now I have more names than I know what to do with.
But that's all, and it's pretty amazing because with Shakespeare's Sister, you girls had a hit called Stay that actually was on the number one charts for 8 weeks in the UK. How would that feel?
That's right. Well, it actually still holds the record for the longest-running number one for a female band in England, in the UK, which was, when we wrote it, we did an album called Hormonally Yours, and we were both pregnant at the time. We were writing the album around a concept of there was a B movie called The Cat Women from the Moon. And we were trying to get the rights to the movie. Dave Stewart was who my partner was married to, of the Eurythmics.
Absolutely.
And so we were talking about, we saw this movie, and it inspired us. And we thought, wouldn't it be fun to get the rights and superimpose ourselves into the movie? That never happened because it proved to be a little bit too expensive. But we were still inspired by the movie, and almost every song on the album is inspired by a scene in the movie, and the one song where I got to sing the lead vocal, Stay, is where I'm singing to an earthling. We're the cat women on the moon, and I'm singing to this earthling, and I've fallen in love with him because he's about to go back to Earth, and I'm asking him to stay. So that's what that was about.
It's very cool, and I mean this as a compliment. I hope you find this as a compliment. You don't look like her, you don't sound like her, but your vibe reminds me a lot of a fantastic vocalist by the name of Julia Fordham. Are you hip to her? I'm sure you are.
Yeah. I know Julia. In fact, we're friends. I see her not that much because she's always traveling in the world, but she lives in L.A., and last time I saw her was here in L.A. at a gig she did, and yeah, I love Julia. She's great, but thank you. Yeah, I consider that a compliment.
Yeah, I sat and I was working with a girl by the name of Angel Short, probably in the actually late 90s, and we opened up for Julia at the Coach House in San Clemente. And right. Julie and I, it was the first time we had a chance to meet, and she enjoyed the show and my playing percussion so much that she asked me to come and sit in on a song called Genius, which was a great hit for her, also very percussive. So, of course, I jumped at the opportunity, and still a fan to this day. And also, too, just listening to you kind of obsessing over your music in the last couple weeks, I've become a fan.
Me?
Yeah, girl. I mean, your voice, people don't realize if you're not familiar with Marcella, please go to YouTube and type in Marcella Detroit and be prepared to be amazed. I mean, your realm, your stretch of vocals, be it pop and also opera, which blew me out of the water, was quite impressive. And and we're really gonna chop it up. We're gonna get into some more information and let the listeners know your background. I mean, you started out with as a sideman, a grunt, if you will, with Bob Seger, a great name. And then I want to find out, from the time of Bob Seger, how long did you tour with him? And was it the States or was it abroad? Go ahead and tell me about that.
You want to know about? Well, actually, I was in a band called Julia in Detroit, and we did quite well. We did a lot of touring around the Midwest, around Michigan and
right.
Chicago area, blah, blah. And then we were seen by Bob Seger's manager, Punch Andrews. Bob was looking for a new band. This was after the band with Teagarden and Van Winkle, the Smoking O.P.'s album. He was looking for a new band. He saw us and hired us. So he took all of us. We joined his band. And it was the States. We never went anywhere else, but it was all over the States. It was mostly in the South where we toured. Once in a while, we didn't really make it out west so much, except Colorado. But, never really further west than that. But, yeah, it was for about a year that I was with Bob.
Larger or smaller venues?
They weren't really large. We did a lot of clubs, and in fact, we did a few gigs with Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Very cool.
Yeah, back in their early days, and like down south, I remember in Atlanta, I was friends with with Lynyrd Skynyrd's road manager. We were having a little kind of love thing going on, but I was really sad to hear when the plane went down. But
right.
Yeah, it was about a year, and it was all smaller to medium-sized clubs. But it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot. I shared the backing vocals with this amazing singer named Shawn Murphy, who is still with Bob, and she has like one of the best voices I've ever heard in my life that I ever have worked with. She went as Stoney Reese back then because she was in a band called Stoney and Meatloaf with the actual Meatloaf, and she was in Hair. And anyway, she and I did the backing vocals. We backed up Bob for about a year. She joined shortly after some of the Julia members were fired, and then Stoney got in the band, and it was incredible. Stoney and I got our own song in the show, and one night we loved James Brown, Stoney and I, or Sean, I should say. We love this song called Think, and it's not the Aretha Franklin song. It's by one of James Brown's proteges named Lynn Collins. It's a really cool song. It has been sampled so much. It's got this really cool, it's called the Funky Drummer groove. You can hear it in so many samples. But anyway, it comes from that song, and we sang that song this one night. Bob gave us our own little spot in the show. And after we did it, we got people were going crazy and, standing ovations. And later, after the gig, Bob fired us.
Why is that?
We were like, oh, he fired us because we did too good.
Atypical, right?
Yeah, but you know what? Later, the next morning, he hired us back because he realized that, hey, man, this only makes me look good if I have these great singers backing me up. So it was funny. We couldn't, Sean and I couldn't believe it, but he did the right thing and hired us back, which was cool.
Hence the word music and business, right? Never should share the same line, in my personal opinion. We're gonna wrap up this. We're gonna wrap up this this first segment, Marcella, and when we come back, I want to talk about how old were you when you started playing guitar, and find out what other instruments that you delved into, and also singing. When you finally realized the fact that this is what your path in life was going to be, and we'll pick that up, and then we'll start chopping up and get a little more personal, musically speaking, when we get back. Okay, go ahead and reach back into your archives, reach back into your thoughts, and let's figure out where we're going to go on this next set. And I know where we're going to go. We're going to get deep down and dirty with my in-studio guest, Marcella Detroit, and we'll be back here momentarily. Again, you're tuned into Jackie's Groove, and this is Jackie Bertoni. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back after this short break.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Thank you for listening to WS Radio. Improve your business and your life with useful information from experts and thought leaders. WS Radio is radio with ROI.
The richness of your life is reflected in the shimmering elegance found at Diolune Design. One-of-a-kind jewelry and pieces from Cynthia Dillon in silver and gold help to express your unique personality. The flowing designs of her creations will empower the way you move throughout your day. Join us online at DIOLUNdesigns.com.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit moesguitars.com or their Facebook page. mozeguitars.com, 619-698-1185.
In the military, things can change in an instant. The Navy Mutual Aid Association, we understand because it's our life too. That's why our dedication to serving the life insurance needs of our military veterans and their families is unrivaled. Navy Mutual offers superior life insurance protection without military service restrictions and limitations. A single focus on providing the peace of mind military families are looking for. That's what we do. Navy Mutual, insuring those who serve. Call 800-628-6011 or go to NavyMutual.org.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, CEO and founder of VinVillage.com and the Wine and Dine Show on Vin Village Radio. Do you have a wine, event, product, or service to promote? Then contact VinVillage.com to reach thousands of wine lovers across the country. Vin Village connects like-minded wine enthusiasts with unique and exclusive wines, events, products, and services. To learn more, contact us on VinVillage.com. Vin Village is where wine lovers connect. Hi, this is Rob Barnett, VinVillage.com, where wine lovers connect. Be sure to tune in weekly to Vin Village Radio for exclusive, in-depth interviews with the who's who in wine and food.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
Welcome back. This is Jackie Bertoni. You are tuned into Jackie's Groove, and it's brought to you by EnterTalk Radio, your music insider and the leading voice of music talk. Hey, everybody. You know, I'm on the line right now with an amazing singer, songwriter, guitarist, collaborator, Marcella, Detroit. Marcella, you know, I got to tell you something. I want to thank you. And this is you're on my 8th show, and it's my station's growing by leaps and bounds, but this is the first female I've had on this, and it's such a nice change other than this overflow of testosterone that I've been experiencing. So thank you for the influx of estrogen on your side. You know, I wanted to.
Thanks for coming over.
Oh, please! I wanted to thank you. I wanted to pick up where we left off on the first segment. We started talking about your playing and your talents, but we didn't touch on how old were you when you first picked up the guitar, and was the guitar your main instrument itself? And you know, how old were you when you first started playing, and when you first started singing? Go ahead and talk about that.
Well, you know, I can't remember exactly the age when I started singing because I think it was as soon as I could open my mouth, really. My father used to sing around the house. He played the ukulele and he used to love country music. There was always a radio on in the house, but I always had this immediate affinity towards music, and as soon as I started kindergarten, I was singing. I was singing in school choirs and duets, quartets, trios, quintets, whatever, and choruses, and whenever I got the chance, I started playing my first instrument. I was singing and doing harmony with my father and in school, but my first actual instrument was at about 8 years old when in school they offered, you start with the recorder, which is it's a song flute, basically,
right.
Really simple instrument. And then after that, you know, it was, well, now pick which instrument you want to play. My first choice was the harp. And I don't mean harmonica, I mean the harp. And my parents were like, no, you can't play the harp. It's so big and it's expensive. And so then I said, okay, well, how about the violin? So the violin was my second choice. And I played that. I was in the school orchestra. I played it for about 4 years and till I was around 12. But in between that time, my father taught me how to play the ukulele, taught me how to play the piano. I picked up the guitar when I was about 12, and I started writing my own songs around then. And also learned how to taught myself how to play the harmonica. Let's see, what else can I play? Yeah, that about covers it. And also the flute. I learned how to play that about 3 years ago. And I love to play the drums, too. I mean, whatever I can play, whatever I get my hands on, I'll try to get some kind of sound out of it.
Absolutely. You know, and Marcella, with that said, who were your musical and who are your musical influences at that time and today's date?
Well, you know, growing up in Detroit, I used to, either be taken to school, by my parents, and we'd listen to Motown. Motown was the thing, It was right. Stevie Wonder, the Supremes, the Temptations. I mean, I was being inundated with that all the time. They were playing it in school in the lunch hours, and when I walked to school, I'd have a little transistor radio. I can almost still smell the case of that transistor radio, man. It had a real distinct smell. But I remember walking to school listening to that song Fingertips with Stevie Wonder,
right.
Flipping out, going, oh my God, this is so incredible. So, yeah, I mean, I think that, and then when the Beatles came along, that was it for me. I was madly in love. I actually got to see them play. My parents
what drew
let me
you
go
to them?
With a friend.
What was the singing, the songwriting? What was it?
I think it was a combination of the songs, the way they looked. I was like madly in love. It was stirring in my loins, which I was not aware of at the time, but I was
right.
in love with them. And when I saw them, I loved their music. First of all, it was so different when they came out. What they were doing was completely different
right.
to anybody else. And it was an import, and it was intriguing, and they were on Ed Sullivan, and there was such a big, massive hype, but it wasn't just all, a hollow thing. It was viable. There was a lot of talent there, and they kept inspiring me with, the further they went. I loved Revolver, and then when Sgt. Pepper's came out, that really blew my mind. And then it was, the White Album, which I think is still my favorite album of all time of theirs. But yeah, just they were so innovative. Starting out, maybe not as much, but they were still innovative in a way that they were so unusual, compared to everything else that was out. And then you probably noticed that all the record companies were trying to find bands that sounded like the Beatles,
right.
back then. But they really inspired me.
It's really a trip when you talk about the Beatles itself. I was never really a huge Beatle fan. I mean, I loved a lot of their work. I loved everything that came out of Paul's mouth. And then, years ago when I started started my marriage with Brian Wilson and the Beach Boys and that whole camp, and finding out that the challenges between McCartney and Lennon and Brian Wilson and how they both had this amazing musical war, a friendly war going back and forth. If it wasn't for Revolver, Pet Sounds would have never been made. If it wasn't for Pet Sounds, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club would have never been made. Right. So, I mean, it's so nice to get deep into that situation. I had Bobby Figueroa, the drummer from the Beach Boys, on a couple weeks ago, and I got to tell you, just when I thought I knew everything about the Beach Boys, I got educated on top of that. So this is the genesis of my show, is to also not to educate the listeners or share with the listeners, but also to bring back memories and educate ourselves on what we did and what we should have done and we've been doing currently. And you mentioned a little while ago Dave Stewart from the Eurythmics. I had the pleasure of doing an album with Wendy Wilson and Carney Wilson, the majority of the over half of Wilson Phillips, and Dave Stewart actually produced and played on that album, and he was intense. Oh. I mean, and I just haven't heard a lot from him lately, but I got to tell you, it was nice to put on my resume that I played for him and recorded for him. So it was very cool.
He's amazing. Yeah.
And speaking of this crazy business, and making a living in it, or the lack of, do you remember what your first paying gig was, where you were, and who it was with? Was it solo? Was it a band?
I don't even know if I got paid for my very first real gig.
Right.
But it was when I left home and I was living in Ann Arbor, Michigan, which is about a 45-minute drive. It's where all the the one university is. And I went there. I was living with this boyfriend of mine, and we didn't have any money really to eat. We used to sit out on the street and play, busk, beg for food. That's how we ate. And we got invited to play in this coffee shop. And, I don't remember even being paid. If it was anything, it was probably $25. But to us, that was a big deal. But I was so nervous about it that he kept playing. It was a song by Richard and Mimi Farina called "The Bold Marauder," which was I don't know why we chose that song because it's pretty outside. But it was I was into folk music, after the Beatles and everything, and I kind of opened my mind up to folk blues and stuff. And so we did the song, and he was playing the intro, and it was my time to come in on the verse, and I went to sing, and nothing came out. And then he went around, the turnaround again, and nothing came out. I'm like, oh, my God, what's going on? I'm so nervous. I've completely choked up. So maybe after 3 times around the runway, I finally was able to eke out a voice. And, that was my first real gig. And after that, for a while, it was what year? I would say it was maybe 1970, cool. 71.
In mentioning playing at a coffee shop back then, I mean, the coffee shops, I'm sure, not nowhere as hip as they are today, and the chains, and being able to use your talents and get people, more in tune into a smaller venue, and playing the folk music, it's kind of a cool situation. I've never experienced that, but I've been to enough coffee stores, coffee shops to experience that. And speaking of coffee, I always ask my interviewees, is there a favorite city? Is there a favorite state, country that you like to play in? And in those city, states, and countries, how about a favorite restaurant and your favorite foods? What draws you?
Oh boy, that's a lot to think about. Well, my favorite cities. Well, I love your beautiful city, really. San Diego is absolutely gorgeous. I was there a few years ago doing the, actually it was last year, doing the San Francisco Blues Festival. It's a beautiful city. We went over to Coronado Island and just kind of walked around. It was late at night. It was kind of sprinkling a little bit, so we had a giant umbrella that they gave us and had a great ice cream. And, I love going there. I love playing in San Francisco. There's some great restaurants there, interesting people. I love playing in New York.
Yeah.
I just love the vibe in New York. It's one of the most amazing cities. I love playing in London. England is my second home, really. My husband's British. I've lived in England off and on for about 6 years, and we go back quite a bit. I still have, thankfully, a big following over there. So I love playing there. The crowd's really receptive. The food's really gotten better, too. There's lots of great restaurants,
absolutely,
contrary to popular belief. And I love playing in Scotland, in Glasgow, because the audience, I love Detroit, too, because Glasgow reminds me of Detroit. The people are so receptive, and you know kind of where you stand as soon as you start. They really enjoy and appreciate you. So, yeah, but, there's so many wonderful things. I love playing in Tokyo when I was with Clapton.
Well, let's hold the Tokyo to the next segment. We're running out of time here itself,
Okay.
but I want to pick that up where we left off because it's only going to get better from here again. You're tuned into Jackie's Groove. This is Jackie Bertoni. We're talking to Marcella Detroit, and we'll be back after these short messages and pick up some great stories that she wants to tell about us while she's on the road. So stay tuned.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
On the internet, your business's reputation can be unjustly destroyed in an instant. Don't wait for that to happen. Building and marketing your 5-star reputation can increase your business by as much as 19%. Take control of your reputation and have the 5-star reputation you deserve with Reputation Marketing Solutions by DSI Development. Become the go-to company by visiting 5starrepmarketing.com. The number 5starrepmarketing.com.
Has your business been appified? Are you tired of doing marketing that doesn't deliver results? Mobile apps build loyalty and quality retention. Your app from UPG Mobile puts your business on their mind and at their fingertips. UPG Mobile will give you a custom app highlighting how you are unique, targeting your message, and improving your open rates. Appify your business and amplify your presence with your customers at upgmobilemarketinggroup.com.
One person has the power to change the world, impact millions of lives, and leave a legacy for lifetimes to come. That person is you. In the New York Times bestseller, What is Your What? Steve Olsher, award-winning author and founder of the Reinvention Workshop, reveals his proven process that has helped thousands of men and women discover, share, and monetize the one thing they were born to do. Grab your free copy now at www.whatisyourwhat.com/free. That's www.whatisyourwhat.com/free.
Take a break from politics. Tune in and learn something. WS Radio shows are worth your time and are filled with tips and advice. Add us to your lunch routine, and we'll give you a meal for your mind.
This is Bill Gruber with BizVid Communications, a Southern California video production leader. We've been honored to sponsor, produce, write, and host many of the fine programs on WS Radio over the years. So we understand how important the internet and your website exposure are. As video producers, we know the tricks and secrets to incorporate video to increase your search engine optimization and business success. Visit bizvidcommunications.com to see what we can do for you. BIZVID communications.com.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
That was the amazing voice and music of my guest, Marcella Detroit, and a song called Drag Queen. Talk about that, girl.
What is that all about?
Yes.
I can't swear on this, can I?
You can fucking say anything you want to say.
All right. Well, I won't. You just did it for me. But
there you go.
No, okay, here's what this song is about. About a year and a half ago, this friend of mine, this entrepreneurial guy named Bradford Shellhammer, invited me to a party. He lives in New York, and he came to L.A. He was going to have this party, and there was going to be a special guest performer, and her name, she was a drag queen named Courtney Act. She's Australian. She was on Australian Idol and was also in RuPaul's Drag Race about a year and a half or so ago.
Right.
And I went to the party, and she performed, and it was incredible because wasn't just doing like a miming to record, could actually sing, and I mean sing really good. So after I met her, and she was absolutely stunningly beautiful. I mean, just incredibly beautiful. So my friend Bradford said, "Oh, you guys should write together," introduced us. And a few weeks later, we got together to write. I'd never seen her as a man, but I went to her house and she opened the door. As a man, I was like, wow, stunningly gorgeous as a man as well. I couldn't believe it. And not only that, but a really vulnerable, sweet, insightful person, and was just a lot of fun to work with and talk to and be around. And as the day was going on, I was thinking, I think I'm kind of developing a little crush on this person. And I got home and I had a great time writing with her, and I told my husband, I think I have a little crush on him, and he laughed, excuse me. And so I went to bed that night, and I had a dream that I was kissing her as the drag queen in my dream. And
Wow.
I thought, okay, that's just crazy, right? That's like nuts. But when I woke up, I thought, okay, I have to write a song about this. So that's what it's about. Last night I kissed a drag queen, most beautiful girl that I've ever seen, and I kissed her in my dreams. And that's what it's about, is telling the story. And how, drag queens, I know some people, the straight community, might be intimidated or not understand it, but some of them are. I look at some of them and I go, they are absolutely stunning and way more feminine than I could ever be. So I find them really inspiring and interesting and fascinating people.
Yeah, I had my experience at the Abbey in Los Angeles a couple of years ago, and it was an eye-opener, to say the least. But for those who don't understand, then I feel sorry for them. You've got to broaden your horizons. You've got to keep your eyes open and your heart open to everybody. So we're all the same, no matter what we choose to walk in, shoes we walk in. We're all the same.
Right.
That's the bottom line. And with all that said, I mean, I can actually see this song. I can see everybody dancing, crazily to this with the classic angel wings on the background. I mean, this song was obviously made for that vibe, and you can follow me what I'm saying with that, right?
Yeah, I mean that is the actual new single that's coming out of my album. I have a double A side single. It's got Drag Queen and another song called What's the Time in Tokyo from my Gray Matters album. And that is going to be out March 18th. We've done a video for it, and we just got some really good news about it in the UK over there. But I'm not really at liberty to say yet, but it's really getting some very good response. So
even more reason to come back and talk to us about it when you can talk about it. That'd be a nice lead in there. When we went off the last segment, we talked about Japan. Japan is a trippy country. For the lack of a better word, it's different. But they do embrace American talent. How do they accept you and your talents?
I was fortunate enough to go over to Japan many times with Clapton, Eric Clapton. I worked with him after Bob Seger and then Leon Russell, and it was Eric Clapton.
Well, we'll talk about that, trust me.
Yeah, and we ended up touring over there. I think I was over there maybe 5 times with Eric. But every time, just absolutely fascinating. The people were and are just very humble, very respectful. The audiences were so bizarre. Like you didn't think they were listening, or you didn't think they appreciated it. But I mean, you would do a song, and they would be so quiet during the song, and afterwards there would be this resounding, applause. And then they would be so eager, and they would be so respectful and quiet for the whole. And then by the end of the show, oh my God, they were rushing the stage. I mean, the security were going nuts trying to figure out how to hold them back. So there was a promoter we had named Mr. Udo who was so nice to us, just treated us so kindly, and actually invited me to his home and gave me a beautiful gift, some paint lithographs and a kimono, like a beautiful vintage kimono. They're just wonderful people. And what's really bizarre is, you get this traditional country and all this tradition around you. The women wear, the geishas and right. whatnot, and the temples, and then you go into like the bathrooms, and I don't know if you've ever been in one of those bathrooms over there, but the toilets are like, wow.
There is no toilets.
It's crazy. What they do.
Exactly.
They're just crazy, They clean you every which way, and they have heated seats, and it's just wild. So you have all this technology and the tradition around you. It's just an incredible country. I love it.
And you talk about your tours and so on, and being on the road, and you touched on this gentleman's name by the name of Eric Clapton. I want to talk about Eric Clapton and how you got hooked up with Eric. And from what I understand, you spent or shared 5 tours with this man, or 5 years with this man. How did you meet him?
5 years. 5 years the first time I was with him, and then 1 year the next time.
That had to be amazing, because I'm just one of the biggest fans. I have coming up on my show here on May 4th, John J.R. Robinson, the most recorded drummer in the history of music. And
oh, yeah.
And he's recorded a lot of stuff with Eric, but the most notable is Change the World. And just there's nothing that Eric Clapton doesn't put out. And I loved going online and looking at, of course, obviously, the song that you collaborated with him is a great tune called Lay Down Sally. And I got to tell you, I don't know if I like his version better or your version, the way it originally started out and how you wrote that. So talk about when he brought that to you, how did he ask you to collaborate, or did he, or was it your idea?
Well, first of all, I'll just go back a little, and you had asked, how did I hook up with him? Well, What happened was, when I joined Bob Seger's band, Julia and I in our band were his backup band for a while. He fired the rhythm section, hired these 2 guys from Tulsa, Oklahoma, named Jamie Oldacre on drums and Dick Sims on keyboards. We went on for, another 9 months doing that. After I decided I wanted to leave that and get into another situation, Jamie and Dick invited me to move to Tulsa, and I wholeheartedly accepted because I was a big fan of Leon Russell. Shelter Records was there. It was a big music scene. J.J. Cale, Leon Russell from the Wrecking Crew and doing his own stuff with Joe Cocker. Right. So I went there, and we had our own band, Jamie and Dick and I, and notables used to come in and hear us play. Like Leon Russell used to come and jam with us. Carl Radel from Derek and the Dominoes, He used to come in and jam with us. And then Eric told Carl he was looking for a band, and Carl said, "You got to come and check these guys out." Next thing we know, Eric came, saw us, and hired us. But I had already committed to working with Leon Russell, and I committed to doing a tour with him for about 9 months. But once that was over, then I joined my friends down in Jamaica, where we were doing there's One in Every Crowd album, and after singing in the album like about 5 songs, he said, "Do you want to be in the band?" So I was like, "What am I, nuts?
Of course.
Why would I not want to be in the band?" So I got to join my friends, and then you had asked me about Lay Down Sally. Well, during the time when I was with Eric, and I was writing with him with some of the other band members, Dick Sims, who I just mentioned. We wrote a song called Hungry that Eric covered, and as time went on, I wrote other songs with Eric. On the Slow Hand album, it was Lay Down Sally, the core. There was a song called Roll It. There was a total of about 8 or 9 songs that I wrote either with Eric or with somebody else that Eric did.
Okay, hold that thought, hold that thought, my love. I'm gonna cut you off rudely one more time as we're going out of segment 3 into segment 4, and we'll pick up these great conversations, anecdotes with you and Eric Clapton. When we return back after these short messages, this is Jackie Bertoni, and once again, you're tuned into Jackie's Groove. Stay tuned. You're going to want to hear what's coming up.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
On the internet, your business's reputation can be unjustly destroyed in an instant. Don't wait for that to happen. Building and marketing your 5-star reputation can increase your business by as much as 19%. Take control of your reputation and have the 5-star reputation you deserve with Reputation Marketing Solutions by DSI Development. Become the go-to company by visiting 5starrepmarketing.com. The number 5starrepmarketing.com.
Attention business owners. Does it feel like your business owns you? See if you qualify for a free 90-minute business coaching session to help you build a business, not a job. During this free 90-minute strategic consultation, one of our senior coaches will help you map out the best way to grow your company and get your life back. To learn more, go to MauiMasterminds.com/scale now. That's MauiMasterminds.com/scale now.
I raised $8,000 to build schools for South African children. After realizing how many people go hungry in San Diego, I now volunteer at a food pantry.
I'm spending the next year doing volunteer projects across 3 countries and helping in ways they designate to be the most helpful.
The World Link program at the Joan B. Kroc Institute for Peace and Justice recognizes the potential of youth as agents of social change. Learn how you can help youth become a generation of leaders in action at peace.sandiego.edu.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit moesguitars.com or their Facebook page. mozeguitars.com, 619-698-1185.
Which sandwich is healthy and tasty? Which sandwich can come on bread or in a bowl? Which sandwich comes 51 different ways, so it's always your way? A which sandwich. Stop into our shop in Hazard Center. We're upstairs from the Hazard Center Digiplex. Bring in your movie ticket. We will add a free drink and chips to your sandwich order. Or order online at which.com, and we will have it ready and waiting. WHICHWICH. Which.com.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove, Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
Somewhere to go, but won't you make yourself at home and stay with me? And don't you ever leave. Lay down, Sally, and rest here in my arms. Don't you think you want someone to talk to? Lay down, Sally, no need to leave so soon. I've been trying all night long just to talk to you. Got the moon and stars above. Underneath the velvet skies, love is all that matters. Won't you stay with me? Don't you ever leave. Lay down, Sally, I'm resting in my arms. Don't you think you want someone to talk to? Lay down, Sally, there's no need to leave so soon.
That was obviously the mega hit, worldwide hit by the incredible Mr. Eric Clapton. And speaking of Eric Clapton, I'm talking to his collaborator / guitars vocalist on the line right now, my newest best friend. Please, everybody, welcome back to the show, Marcella Detroit.
Hey, yeah, thank you.
Hey, girl,
glad to be here.
Were you on that vocal? Were you on the vocals on that track?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's me in the background, the high voice. You know, it's always me on the high voice. Yeah, I mean, originally how that song started out was we were in the studio in London in this place called Olympic, and Eric said to me, hey, I want to write a song called Lay Down, Sally. You know, in those days, we didn't always have the songs, especially with Eric. We didn't have the songs usually before we went into the studio. It was just go in the studio and write on the spot. So he said that to me. And something about that title just sparked a melody in me. I immediately heard the lay it down, Sally. I picked up a guitar. It was a whole different groove, though. It was more like a Bo Diddley beat, like a dun 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 dun. That's the original way I heard the song. We worked on it all day long on the music and tried to write some more lyrics and stuff, but after about 5 hours, a keyboard player got bored and left. That's Dick Sims. And all of a sudden, Eric started playing the iconic groove that it became, and then it just all fell into place. The producer, Glenn John, said, okay, we got to record this. So I actually jumped on the piano because the keyboard player wasn't there on the Wurlitzer, and I played that. And then after we were done, I mean, the track sounded great, and Glenn said, sounds really good. We're going to keep that take. And Eric said to me, okay, now you got to go. Please go write the lyrics. Go to your room, please, at the hotel and write your lyrics. So I brought the lyrics in the next day, and that was it. We put it down, and that was it.
How fortunate on your side, girl. I mean, come on. This is now, it's a thumbprint of Eric Clapton's catalog. I mean, it's an amazing song. How could you not stomp your foot to that Texas two-step? It's amazing. And when I wanted to ask that question, I mean, you've worked with Eric Clapton, you worked with Leon Russell. We'll talk about Elton-John, but with that said, who was the coolest, quote-unquote, coolest artist that you've ever met to this day?
That I've worked with or that I've met? Oh.
Either or.
Either or. Well, let's see. It was probably Eric, I'd have to say, because, he hired us. He hired us because his friend Carl told him about us, and he just treated us like, equals. There was no real pretense or anything. Right. It was just a great opportunity, and got to, travel the world and do some amazing things. So I would probably say it was Eric.
Are you still in contact with him?
Yeah, funnily enough, his road manager and personal assistant lives not too far from me in L.A., just outside of L.A., and we connected a few years ago, and we've been pretty much friends ever since. And through him, I'm in touch with Eric a lot.
Any chance of rekindling that love?
I don't know, because Eric is now retired. He's only doing selective dates.
Right.
And he'll do big dates, like big shows where he's staying in one place and playing maybe a week or 2 weeks worth of in that one place, like in Tokyo. I think he's got one coming up, or at the Budokan, which is where I played with him before, and also in London at the Royal Albert Hall. So yeah, I don't know if the band that we had will ever do a reunion or anything, but
right.
You never know. I never say never.
And with that said, it's like, how cool is it to work with Eric Clapton? Eric Clapton is a gig, but in your mind, what would be the gig? What's your bucket list? Who are you salivating? Who are you looking forward to working with that you haven't worked with as of yet?
Well, that's a hard one. Right now, I'm concentrating on working with me and doing my music.
Is she easy to work with?
Who, me?
You?
I think I am. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm very what's the word? I'm easy to get along with, to put it simply. I'm easy to get along with. I play well with others. I like to work with other people. A lot of this new album of mine, I worked mainly on my own. I had a few other collaborators on that one song, What's the Time in Tokyo. But it was mostly me and my writing everything. So, I'm pretty open. I'm used to writing with other people. There might be some producers that I'd like to work with. But I've worked with some of the greats. So how do you... I've worked with Jerry Wexler and Tom Dowd and Glyn Johns and
name drop,
Arif
girl,
Mardin.
name drop.
Yeah, Arif Mardin, who is one of my favorites.
Absolutely.
He used to call me and say, "Hey, Marcy, can you put a vocal on this demo for Bette?" He was producing Bette Midler, and he would invite me to come and do things like that. And he was just like one of the most amazing producers I ever worked with. I just really enjoyed that. Yeah, legendary. So, yeah, as far as these days, well, I would like to work with Glyn Johns again, but his son, Ethan Johns, is equally, doing some incredible things these days.
Yeah,
so there are some people I would like to work with.
The apple didn't fall too far from the tree on that, that combination right there.
No, and I'd also like to work with Stevie Wonder if I had the opportunity to write with him, or I actually I jammed with him when I was in London. It was around 1994. We were at this radio broadcast live from Ronnie Scott's Jazz Club, and
how cool!
And he was doing a show, and he said, "Hey, we got any singers in the audience?" So I went up with a lot of my other friends. We were all there singing backgrounds. So that I could say was like a highlight of my life, to be able to sing with him at the piano. It was incredible. He's one of my favorites, and still working and singing incredibly well.
I have a good friend of mine, Fausto Cuevas, is his percussionist, and he has nothing but the greatest things to say to Stevie. And I worked with the big reggae group Third World for many years, in which Stevie wrote and produced their album and a song called Traja Love. So I've had the opportunity to hang with Stevie, and it's amazing. Again, just one more thing I can put on my resume. And speaking of resumes, when we come back from this next break, it's going to be a little bit longer break because we are going to a 2-hour show. This is the 1 hour. It's already been down, another hour to go with Marcella, Detroit. I'm going to pick up this when we get back. I want to talk about your connection with Elton-John, which intrigues me. I had a few people asking me if you were currently working with him in Las Vegas. I don't have that answer, so you're going to answer that when we get back. Here on Jackie's Groove, this is Jackie Bertoni. Stay tuned. It's only going to get better, deeper, and more intense. Stay tuned.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Progressive Medical.
Hey, this is Heidi Rue, and you know, Progressive Medical Center has literally changed my life and my health, but I'm not the only one. Adele suffered from bone deterioration, bone overgrowth, profound muscle discomfort, physical exhaustion, and mental fog. In fact, the bone deterioration becomes so serious that she had to have back surgery. Well, after the surgery, she still didn't feel well, and so that's when she heard about Progressive Medical Center. Progressive Medical Center discovered that her adrenals weren't working properly, her hormones were out of whack, and the drugs she had been taking were doing more harm than good. Adele came into Progressive Medical Center in a walker, physically and mentally exhausted. But now she's a world traveler. She hikes and walks several miles a day, and it's all thanks to Progressive Medical Center. 770-676-6000. 770-676-6000.
Progressive Medical. This is your life. Live it well.
Take a break from politics. Tune in and learn something. WS Radio shows are worth your time and are filled with tips and advice. Add us to your lunch routine, and we'll give you a meal for your mind.
Do you want to be a professional coach? Are you in business trying to make a real difference with people you manage or work with? Have you started a coaching practice that isn't quite getting off the ground? Get the skills you need to be a successful coach today with the Coaches Training Program from Accomplishment Coaching. The Coaches Training Program will show you how to help others focus and be more fulfilled. Whether you want to improve your company's bottom line or create a thriving coaching practice, Accomplishment Coaching can give you the distinctions and practices you need to coach others effectively today. Accomplishment Coaching has spent 6 years developing a cutting-edge coaches training program that will have you ready to coach people professionally in just 12 months, and you don't have to take time off work to do it. To find out more about the Coaches Training Program, just call 1-888-548-6813. That's 1-888-548-6813.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, VinVillage.com, where wine lovers connect. Be sure to tune in weekly to Vin Village Radio for exclusive, in-depth interviews with the who's who in wine and food.
Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
That is a very, very cool track called England Calling by my guest today, Miss Marcella Detroit. Marcella, I swear to you, I felt like I was cruising down the streets of Bond Street and Selfridges on that tune. It feels like I was there, cloudy and in murky skies. But it was very, very cool. And I got to tell you, I'm comparing you to Buddy. There's nobody compares to you, but you remind me a lot of a great 80s singer, Lisa Stansfield. I'm sure you remember her also. Just that cool vibe about yourself. You know, when we took a break, we came back, and I said I want to talk to you about this next superstar that you've been with. His name is Sir Elton-John. Do you want to talk about that man?
Yeah, how did that happen? Well, after Shakespeare's Sister and that success, I was always going to do my own album because my ex-partner, Siobhan, wanted to take a break. It was part of the record contract. Anyway, I was going to do my next album. And I was writing for it while we were on the road. And so after that was done, we got the producer, Chris Thomas, who is a great producer. He did The Pretenders and In Excess, you know, those iconic albums that they did. And he ended up producing my album. Well, while we were in the middle of recording my album, Chris was friends with Elton, and Elton called him and said, "Hey, I'd like you to come and work on my album." And Chris said, "Well, I can't because I'm in the middle of doing Marcy's album." So Elton said, "Well, I'm doing a duets album, and I'd love to have Marcy do a duet with me." So he said, "Pick the song." So I thought, well, what better than a Motown classic? So I chose Ain't Nothing Like the Real Thing.
Wow.
And we kind of did it. Well, we obviously used the influence of the Marvin Gaye Sexual Healing drum groove and all that, you know, the production behind it.
Right.
So we laid it down, and then Elton came in, I think, in the next week or two, and we put the vocals down together. And that's kind of how it all happened. And he was
How cool
wonderful
is that?
to work with. Really.
Did you travel live with him or only record with him?
You know, we tried to do one. Well, actually, we did two things together. One was there was a show in England that was huge. It was called Top of the Pops. It was kind of like the American Bandstand of England, or any kind of, you know, show like we have over here. Not really like The Voice or anything like that, because it was more of a variety show of current music. But we did that together, and then we were supposed to do a show in France, in Paris, and he invited me to go there on a private jet and go to Paris and do this show. When we got there was a group called Act Up that were trying to stop us. It was for AIDS awareness. I'm not sure why they were trying to stop the show.
Really?
But they tried to stop the show, and in fact they did, because Elton and I, like, after we were there for hours and hours waiting to go on. It was midnight. Liza Minnelli was there. She was in the dressing room in the back, and we were all, like, you know, having a few drinks and kind of getting a little bit loose and crazy. You know, you kind of get like that when
give me a
things
year.
aren't going right. You know, when it's like everything's completely out of control. So unfortunately, Elton had to leave the next day to go do a concert in New York for the Rainforest or something, and said, "I've got to get up early. I've got to go get on Concorde in the morning, so I have to leave. I'm sorry." So he left at about, 12:30 in the morning, and we never got to do it. But
what year was
this? It was still an incredible experience. 94.
Cool. You
know, it was on my Jewel album and also on his duets for one album.
You know, and speaking of the album gigs and such, I want to ask you a question. Kind of want to get everybody kind of get a vibe about you and what you do, how you gear up itself. So what is the preparation that Marcella does before a gig? And we'll touch it on the studio and also live. What is it when you're on the road live? How do you prep before you go on stage?
Well, that's a good question. And I don't know if I want to give my secrets away.
Okay, that's fine.
Kidding. I'm kidding. No, I think trying to be relaxed and as centered and focused and feeling the joy of music and feeling the gratitude for what I do is the most important thing. And, just singing and playing for a while to get myself in the mood. Because it really, when I think about it, what do I love doing more than anything? It's really my music. So I love being creative. Sometimes I might even try to well, I'm going to try to write a song, right before I go on, maybe like a few hours before, just to get myself in that mode. It kind of focuses my brain, focuses my mind, my psyche for what I'm about to do. And eating right, vocalizing, vocal exercises, practicing my instruments and things like that.
Well, that leads me to my next question then. So I guess the next question would be, guests before the show, yes or no?
Guests before the show?
Yeah, do you welcome anybody back to hang out with you, or would you prefer to wait for them to come afterwards?
Guests. It depends on who it is. If it's someone that's going to stress me out, I would say no. I would say, I'll see you later. But if it's people that I love, that I want to be around, yeah, absolutely.
It's cool because the majority of people I've interviewed so far don't want anybody to be back before the show, and that includes myself. I have my little rituals that I do, just want to kind of get myself, is centered, and get ready for the task at hand. So, whatever motivates you, then God bless you, Godspeed. And, and a couple other questions I want to ask you, and these are just like cliche questions, but I have to ask them anyways. What is in Marcella's iPod or CD player at this time?
Oh, boy. Well, funny thing, my son loves death metal, which I do not really like, but he got me to appreciate the musicianship of it. So when we upgraded it, like when I got my new iPhone, all of a sudden all our libraries are mixed together, so I've got some scary death metal shit on there that I'm like, oh my God, I don't, what is this on here? I mean, I normally I love R&B. I love old classic soul stuff. I love Marvin Gaye and Aretha and like I said, Stevie Wonder. But I like some new music as well as I love some 90s kind of rock and roll. But I love Sly and the Family Stone and 90s like Nirvana and Soundgarden. I'm a frustrated drummer, so sometimes I make myself this little drum list of things to play along with on my phone. My music choices and Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Speaking of drummers, I had... I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you there for a second. Speaking of drummers, I had Todd Zuckerman on last Monday. He's the drummer for the iconic group Styx. And I asked him the same question, about what's on your iPod. And his response was shuffle. He goes, I'd like to be surprised.
Right, yeah.
I
like a majority of things.
Right, cool. And I guess another question I love, that this is not a cliche question, because I remember my first time that I heard myself on the radio. Where were you the first time that you heard yourself on the radio? What song was it? And what were you feeling?
Actually, the first time I think it was when I recorded with Bob Seger, and he did an album called Back in '72, which we recorded some of it at Leon Russell's studio out on the lake just outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And there was a song that I was pretty vocally featured on called Rosalie. I had this really high part where I kind of answered him. He said Rosalie, and I had a part that was really high that responded. And I think that was the very first time I heard myself on the radio on that song. And I was, well, of course, aren't you having like a proud, puffy-chested moment when you hear yourself? I mean, you'd be a liar if you said you weren't.
Did you get emotional at all?
Oh, God, well, I'm an emotional wreck, I mean, it doesn't take much to get me emotional.
I remember the first time I heard myself. I heard myself on a tune by the name of Same World by Michael McDonald and Henry Capone, and I was at Fashion Island in Newport Beach, sitting in the parking lot waiting for my wife to come out. And I got to be honest with you, I'm not going to lie, I was crying. I wanted to tell everybody, hey, that's me on the radio, that's me on the radio. And even though it's not my song, it's a song I recorded on, that will always stay in my mind. It'll always be, blazed in my mind itself, and just a great feeling. I think everybody needs to get that experience if they haven't had it already. And talking about experience, we're experiencing running out of time one more time. We're coming out of segment 5 into segment 6 with my in-studio guest, the beautiful Marcella Detroit. And we're going to pick up some situations coming up, how the music business is, your endorsements, where to get a hold of you, etc., etc., etc. So stay tuned. We'll be back momentarily after the short break. This is Jackie Bertoni, and you are tuned into Jackie's Groove. Stay tuned.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Thank you for listening to WS Radio. Improve your business and your life with useful information from experts and thought leaders. WS Radio is radio with ROI.
Do you want to be a professional coach? Are you in business trying to make a real difference with people you manage or work with? Have you started a coaching practice that isn't quite getting off the ground? Get the skills you need to be a successful coach today with the Coaches Training Program from Accomplishment Coaching. The Coaches Training Program will show you how to help others focus and be more fulfilled. Whether you want to improve your company's bottom line or create a thriving coaching practice, Accomplishment Coaching can give you the distinctions and practices you need to coach others effectively today. Accomplishment Coaching has spent 6 years developing a cutting-edge coaches training program that will have you ready to coach people professionally in just 12 months, and you don't have to take time off work to do it. To find out more about the Coaches Training Program, just call 1-888-548-6813. That's 1-888-548-6813.
In the military, things can change in an instant. At Navy Mutual Aid Association, we understand because it's our life too. That's why our dedication to serving the life insurance needs of our military veterans and their families is unrivaled. Navy Mutual offers superior life insurance protection without military service restrictions and limitations. A single focus on providing the peace of mind military families are looking for. That's what we do. Navy Mutual, insuring those who serve. Call 800-628-6011 or go to NavyMutual.org.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, CEO and founder of VinVillage.com and the Wine and Dine Show on Vin Village Radio. Do you have a wine, event, product, or service to promote? Then contact VinVillage.com to reach thousands of wine lovers across the country. VinVillage connects like-minded wine enthusiasts with unique and exclusive wines, events, products, and services. To learn more, contact us on VinVillage.com. VinVillage is where wine lovers connect. Hi, this is Rob Barnett, VinVillage.com, where wine lovers connect. Be sure to tune in weekly to Vin Village Radio for exclusive, in-depth interviews with the who's who in wine and food.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
welcome back. This is Jackie Bertoni. You are tuned into Jackie's Groove. We are in segment 6 of today's show, and it's brought to you by the almighty EnterTalk Radio, your entertainment insider. And if you like what you're listening to, and how could you not, I want you to check out our mobile app available on iTunes and Google Play. Just simply type in EnterTalk Radio, hit search, and download it so you can take us on the go wherever you are. And also, you can check out our other shows that are on the air, The Changing Stage, and Girls Talk Rock, and Music Gear Talk, Radio Bandiego, and our newest, Made the Best Brand Win. So check those out. It's just got something for everybody here. And I want to thank all of our dear friends at Pitbull Audio at pitbullaudio.com, but they just want you to play it loud. And our other great sponsor here, I'm sure Marcella knows them very well, SIR, Studio Instrument Rentals. You can catch them at sir-usa.com, and our dear friends at showslinger.com also. So when we came back from the break, we heard a beautiful song called I Believe by my guest, Marcella Detroit. Marcella, talk to us about that song. Love it.
Oh, thank you. I was inspired to write something, talk about social injustice every once in a while. That's really important to me, and so it comes out in my music from time to time. It's a pretty simple message. You give a little bit of love, you get it back, you know. And I feel like lots of us are driven by fear or ignorance, and I really believe it starts in the home.
Absolutely.
It's kind of hard to break the cycle unless, you know, the parents are, unless you're getting that at home. It's really hard to be open-minded and accepting of others and their differences and letting them be who they are and be who you are. So that's what inspired me to write that song, and that was on my Jewel album in 1994.
Beautiful song, you know. And you know, again, we need to keep music alive. I mean, in schools, you know, God bless, and I say that sarcastically, our government, they've taken it out. We as musicians need to put it back in. And as I always say, you know, and as I always say to the parents with children, don't force a child to be put on a instrument. Let that child choose the instrument that he or she wants. And then I say to that child itself, engulf yourself, you know, wrap yourself around that, get into that vibe itself, but keep music in your heart. I can't imagine anybody not having music in their life. I feel sorry for them, actually. And
likewise.
And speaking of the music business, Marcella, in your professional opinion, on today's date, March the 7th, what is your feeling, your deep down gut feeling about the music business? Where is it at right now, do you feel?
Well, should I be negative Nelly or
Both.
Really up and positive?
Let's start with negative Nelly first.
All right. Well, okay, as far as being negative about it, I just think that it's much more difficult to be heard in one sense. There's so much competition. There's so many people, you know, doing music, and it's just hard to be heard above the rest. And which, you know, it's always been that way, but if you have a label or something behind you, not that that's always the answer, there's more of a chance of, you know, them putting the money behind you. That's what it takes, really. What it's come down to is, how much money do I need to put into this to be heard? As independent artists like myself, there's so many more hats that need to be worn. Right. I'm a producer. I'm the artist. I'm the musician. I'm the marketer. I am the, you know, it's just overwhelming what we have to do. And on one hand, though, it's kind of good to be independent because you, the artist, are in control. You can lose your soul, which I've had happen to me by being signed to major labels who didn't really get me, who are saying, oh, no, we don't like that, what you're doing. Do this because it's what everybody else is doing, or it's going to be easy for us to get you to be noticed if you do this and you sell your soul to do something that, you know, might help us make money. So who cares if you feel like shit about yourself? You don't respect yourself anymore. So in that way, I think it's really good. We still have the hurdle of now having to wear so many hats, but just being able to be heard and to do something that is controversial just for the sake of it, I don't necessarily agree with that. Like I'm, you know, posing naked or doing whatever stupid stunts that people do these days to get noticed. I just don't get it. but it seems like our culture is really liking this now, and part of me, I understand it, but I don't really like it.
Stop stealing music. That's my favorite 3 words. Stop stealing music.
Exactly.
I mean,
exactly. Yeah, and that's the other thing. As far as the music business, it's really hard, not only for the little guys starting out to make money on their music anymore, on the recorded, piece of music. Forget about really making money at it anymore. Once Napster hit, and I can tell you, every day I get a Google alert saying, download Marcella Detroit's blah, blah, blah for free. I'm like, I did not authorize this. How are they doing this? So I find it really frustrating and difficult, even for, people like me who have been in the business for a long time, just to see the value of music become worthless. And when you think about how important, I would ask, your listeners, and I'm sure they agree, how important is music to your life? I mean, it enhances everything. It enhances, films. It enhances your life, like a time of your life. You hear something, it gives you a wonderful feeling, or it comforts you, it consoles you, it saves you, at times when you feel like, oh my God, I'm the only person feeling this way. And then you'll hear a song and you'll go, I'm not alone. It inspires, it's just wonderful. It's good for your heart. It's good for your brain and your soul. So I don't understand why it's just been so disrespected.
And how cool is it what we do for a living?
We're really lucky mofos, aren't we?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm sitting in my studio right now. I'm looking at my walls of the platinum albums that I've garnered over the years for my hard work. And even though they're not music that I wrote, it's music that I played on. And that drives me. That makes me move forward, and I'm thankful for everything that's out there itself, because it can be taken away from you in a heartbeat. But it took forever to get a hold of that. And it makes you respect that. I've been blessed over the years to be endorsed by the 3 largest companies on the marketplace: LP Music Group for my percussion rig, Sabian Cymbals for my cymbals, and Vader Drumsticks for my drumstick company. They believe in me, and we got 25 years plus, and they take care of me, and because I take care of them also. And with that said, who do you want to give a shout out to? Who do you want to talk about in the way of your endorsements, the equipment that you play, your equipment of choice? Speak on that.
I don't have any endorsees right now. At one time I was sponsored by Washburn Guitars, and they gave me a few guitars. This was based out of the UK. They gave me some incredible guitars that I used live when I was in Shakespeare's Sister. But other than that, I had some interest from a Whirlwind, what do you call it? Their guitar cable cords. They gave me some cords. But I've not really I would love to get Fender, because I've been playing Strats ever since I can remember. So I'd love to do something with them.
Let me help you work on that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I would love to do that. And I'm trying to think who else. I would say maybe some computer like Mac. I mean, I've been using a Mac ever since Mac came out. I've been using a Mac for my music. It's the best software, I think. The best possible music software you can get.
By all means, it's definitely user friendly. And we're going to be wrapping. Can you believe it? We're already going on to our segment number 7. And most of my interviews are worried about a 2-hour interview. And when we get to the end of the 2-hour interview, we can go another 2 hours, because how do you wrap up 30 years of a career in a 2-hour show? It's virtually impossible. And so when we get back and head into segment 7, we're going to talk more to Marcella about where we can find her, through social media, her email addresses, her websites, etc. Everything that you want to know about Marcella Detroit, but we're afraid to ask. And if you are, then we're going to help you out. And again, if you have any questions about what we do or anything that you'd like to hear from us, Jackie's Groove, please send me an email at interviews@jackiesgroove, and I will get back to you as quick as I can to answer those questions for you. We're not doing this for fun, and we're the only show out there in the industry that is doing this, and we're pretty much proud of that. So stay tuned. Coming up on segment 7, we'll be picking up where we left off with our in-studio guest, the beautiful and talented Marcella Detroit. Stay tuned.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
On the internet, your business's reputation can be unjustly destroyed in an instant. Don't wait for that to happen. Building and marketing your 5-star reputation can increase your business by as much as 19%. Take control of your reputation and have the 5-star reputation you deserve with Reputation Marketing Solutions by DSI Development. Become the go-to company by visiting 5starrepmarketing.com. The number 5starrepmarketing.com. Kinja Dixon was crowned the #1 sales executive through hard work, deep thinking, and the revelation of universal talk laws. He now wants to share these lessons with you. Universal talk laws are what you need to know and use in business and at home to have successful and effective conversations. Kinja Dixon shares his wisdom, action plans, and wealth. Each book comes with a chance to win $10,000. Find Universal Talk Laws at KinjaDixon.com.
Has your business been appified? Are you tired of doing marketing that doesn't deliver results? Mobile apps build loyalty and quality retention. Your app from UPG Mobile puts your business on their mind and at their fingertips. UPG Mobile will give you a custom app highlighting how you are unique, targeting your message, and improving your open rates. Appify your business and amplify your presence with your customers at upgmobilemarketinggroup.com.
Tired of presentations with no impact, no inspiration, and no traction? Do dull speakers have you and your team disengaged and distracted by smartphones? Christopher McAuliffe brings energy, insights, and 2 decades of experience, delivered with punch, humor, and heart. Your team will leave energized, uplifted, and with a sense of purpose. Visit ChristopherMcAuliffe.com to bring some heat to your next speaking engagement. McAuliffe. ChristopherMcAuliffe.com.
This is Bill Gruber with BizVid Communications, a Southern California video production leader. We've been honored to sponsor, produce, write, and host many of the fine programs on WS Radio over the years. So we understand how important the internet and your website exposure are. As video producers, we know the tricks and secrets to incorporate video to increase your search engine optimization and business success. Visit bizvidcommunications.com to see what we can do for you. BIZVID communications.com.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
That is the beautiful soprano voice of my guest, Marcella Detroit, and a beautiful, haunting song that's basically a wall of vocals and background vocals and harmonies, that song called Stay. Marcella, talk to me about that song. Tell me about the genesis of that tune, please.
Well, like I had mentioned with Shakespeare's Sister, we wrote that song and all the songs from that Hormonally Yours album around a possibility of getting ourselves superimposed into this movie called Catwoman from the Moon. And my character was, this point in the movie, we're writing all the songs were inspired by the movie, so we were writing songs from different scenes. And in this one scene, I'm singing to an earthling that I've fallen in love with, who is getting ready to go back to Earth, and I'm begging him to stay with me.
I love that video, by the way. The black and white is very, very, it's just very cool. It's very dark to a certain level. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. It's definitely dark. I mean,
yeah, listeners, check out that song on YouTube, Marcella Detroit and Stay. It's I've kind of obsessed about it the last couple of days. Very, very cool all the way around. And when we left off,
that version was Shakespeare's Sister.
Yeah. Oh, my apologies, but you can actually get it on Marcella. You have different versions of it available too, don't you?
Yeah, I just this year hooked up with this great promoter out of New York, and we've done some remixes of it. So it's available as these new dance remixes as well, and there's a new video for it. Sounds completely different, and I redid the whole thing.
Let's talk about your other half. My wife is my better half. Let's talk about your husband, the other half. Does he get what you do? Is he supportive 100% behind what you do?
I kind of feel sorry for him because he's always dragged into what I do, whether it's, and I know he loves writing music. He actually wrote one of the songs that you played earlier of mine called England Calling, which is on my Gray Matters album. He co-wrote that with me. I bounce ideas off of him all the time. I say, what do you think of this? I feel like it could be better. And he'll say, oh, yeah, maybe it needs blah, 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 blah. And we'll work on it together. He actually wrote a song on his own on my Jewel album right after I left Shakespeare's Sister, which is called Just Can't Get You Out of My Mind. So, and also on that Stay video, what you just played the song from, he was the actual first AD on that video because no one else could think of a concept to tie it together. I mean, how are we going to make this into a video? And my husband said, well, I get it. You're singing to this guy that's dying, and you're asking him to stay with you, and my partner would be the angel of death coming to take him away. So it was his idea. So he's incredibly creative. He's just written a few books. He's always incredibly supportive of me if I'm having issues with my, like being frightened of performing, which that happens to me sometimes if I'm not really prepared. He drums into me like, you got to rehearse. So no matter what, if you're on autopilot, which you're hopefully not, but you know what you're doing backwards and forwards. He's incredibly supportive of me. He's from a showbiz family, so he understands, what has to be done. He's just done my new video for my song Drag Queen, so he's incredibly creative, and he's got a great eye.
Your first AD, does that mean you had to pay him, even though he's your husband?
Well, I didn't have to pay him. The record company had to pay him for being part of the crew for the album. First assistant director to the director.
And how about the husband? Let's talk about your. Is it one child, 2 children? Tell me about your kids.
I only have one son.
Age?
He's a really talented artist. He's going to be 25 next month. I can't believe it.
Really?
But yeah, he's just the greatest kid. He loves music, and I tell you what, he's got an incredible talent for drums. I've never seen anybody not know how to play drums or ever had a lesson and just pick up all this really complex stuff that he loves to listen to from death metal bands and everything. But he's definitely got a great ear. But he's an incredible artist. He's been to college for art. He has a bachelor's in media art and animation, and he's doing it constantly. A lot of freelance jobs. So, and he's helped me on my videos with some of my work and done some Photoshop on my photos and things. So, yeah, it's kind of like a family thing where we all help each other out and understand, that we all possess this creative gene.
What a cool mom, though, to think about. It's like everybody has that certain thing they gravitate to the parents for, but you got to believe that this is very, very, Mom has definitely got the music business down, and it's got to be a cool thing for him itself. And of course, it's all based upon the music, love of music that's in your genes also. And since he is into drumming, direct him back to my website at Jackie's Groove and have him go to the archive and look at the great drummers that I've put on. Because I said, again, you're the first female, which you won't be the last female on the show. But it seems like I've been spotlighting. We should change it from Jackie's Groove to Drummer's Paradise, because I've had the who's who of drummers so far on and the who's who of drummers coming up. And look, at that said, I've got Alphonse Mizan coming on next week, and I've got, again, John J.R. Robinson. I've got Ndugu Chancellor. I've got, the list goes down the line. It's definitely educational across the board itself. Back to you and your career. What new projects do you have coming out that we need to know about, or can you talk about that?
Yeah, well, like I had mentioned, my new single, Drag Queen, it's actually a double A-side single that is going to be released officially March the 18th. We've got a video that's about to come out, and along with the single, with the double A-side single, there are going to be 4 dance remixes of Drag Queen on there, and we're getting some good response right now from the gay community, so that's really good. And that's what I'm going to be focusing on. It's going to take a lot of work, and, it just seems like it's a never-ending process of promoting and, preparing for the release, so that's in my very near future.
And you're being a musician itself on the tracks of Drag Queen. Are you using live musicians?
I played on a lot of it. I did all the programming and played and did all the vocals, and I put some guitar on and a few other instruments. And after I finished it, doing it in my own studio, I had a friend back in England named Paul Drew, who I met at this songwriting camp in Greece, in Santorini, back in 2013. We wrote a great song called What's a Time in Tokyo, which is going to be on the double A-side single that's coming out. And we had stayed in touch. The song was actually recorded by a Belgian artist named Sil, who did quite well with it in something called the Eurovision Song Contest, which is about 500 million people watch that, and it happens every May all over Europe. It's not. I don't know why it's not big over here, but it's all over the world. I think everywhere but America. I don't understand it, but it's huge. And she recorded our song, and I thought it would be great to put on the album. So yeah, it's just
What is your choice of recording? Are you a Pro Tools girl?
Oh, I wanted to add one more thing. I meant to complete my my train of thought there. Paul Drew, who I wrote it with, actually, once I finished all the audio tracks here, I sent it over to him. He mixed it for me, but he also added some great guitars and bass and a little bit more of some drum programming and stuff. So, what was your question?
That's a good question. What are you a Pro Tools girl itself? What mode of recording are you using?
I use Logic Pro.
I never got into that. I've had a few studios ask me if I'm into Logic, and I said, hell no, I've just been trying to perfect Pro Tools. And let alone to jump, try to jump into something else. It's crazy here. I had a little bit of static on my line there. That's why I stopped. But it's going to...
Once you learn one thing?
Yeah, once you learn one thing itself, I mean, at my advanced age, I don't want to be taught, again, something else. And it seems like it's either Logic or it's going to be Pro Tools, and obviously, this is industry talk between you and I, and it makes sense. So, and I'm sure there's going to be something greater and cooler, coming above that. But again, I'll cross that bridge. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And again, we're coming up, Marcella. We're coming up to segment number 8 in a 2-hour.
Can't believe it.
Yeah, it's blown by. And again, I said before, I was a fan of yours since we got introduced to each other, and I'm more of a fan now. It's always nice to know the inner mechanics of what makes you groove, what makes you vibe. And we're going to pick up the last segment when we get back on Jackie's Groove. This is Jackie Bertoni, and we're going to talk a little bit more with Marcella, and we're going to find out where you can get a hold of this beautiful lady. So stay tuned. We're coming into segment 8 on Jackie's Groove. This is Jackie Bertoni on EnterTalk Radio, your music insider. Stay tuned.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
On the internet, your business's reputation can be unjustly destroyed in an instant. Don't wait for that to happen. Building and marketing your 5-star reputation can increase your business by as much as 19%. Take control of your reputation and have the 5-star reputation you deserve with Reputation Marketing Solutions by DSI Development. Become the go-to company by visiting 5starrepmarketing.com. The number 5starrepmarketing.com.
I raised $8,000 to build schools for South African children. After realizing how many people go hungry in San Diego, I now volunteer at a food pantry.
I'm spending the next year doing volunteer projects across 3 countries and helping in ways they designate to be the most helpful.
The World Link program at the Joan B. Kroc Institute for Peace and Justice recognizes the potential of youth as agents of social change. Learn how you can help youth become a generation of leaders in action at peace.sandiego.edu.
Kenja Dixon was crowned the #1 sales executive through hard work, deep thinking, and the revelation of universal talk laws. He now wants to share these lessons with you. Universal talk laws are what you need to know and use in business and at home to have successful and effective conversations. Kenja Dixon shares his wisdom, action plans, and wealth. Each book comes with a chance to win $10,000. Find Universal Talk Laws at kenjadixon.com.
I raised $8,000 to build schools for South African children. After realizing how many people go hungry in San Diego, I now volunteer at a food pantry.
I'm spending the next year doing volunteer projects across 3 countries and helping in ways they designate to be the most helpful.
The World Link program at the Joan B. Kroc Institute for Peace and Justice recognizes the potential of youth as agents of social change. Learn how you can help youth become a generation of leaders in action at peace.sandiego.edu.
Which sandwich is healthy and tasty? Which sandwich can come on bread or in a bowl? Which sandwich comes 51 different ways, so it's always your way? A which sandwich. Stop into our shop in Hazard Center. We're upstairs from the Hazard Center Digiplex. Bring in your movie ticket. We will add a free drink and chips to your sandwich order. Or order online at which.com and we will have it ready and waiting. WHICHWICH. Which.com.
Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
That song is called The Vehicle by my guest, Marcella Detroit. And speaking of vehicle, obviously everybody has their sidekick, something that keeps things moving. And my vehicle here at Jackie's Groove is my partner in crime, my dear friend of mine, Florentino Benefaturo. And actually, Florentino is the one that introduced me to Marcella, as Marcella did his show called The Changing Stage. And I want to give a big shout-out to my boy. And in fact, better yet, I'm going to bring him on the air right now. And I want you to say hi to Marcella. And right back, Marcella, back to Florentino.
Hey, Marcella.
Hey, how are you doing?
I am doing awesome. I'm enjoying the show. This is fun. I almost like it better listening to the show. I loved interviewing you because it was so fun. But you guys are just going deep. It's awesome. It's just amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Really appreciate you. You've been on a few of our shows here on EnterTalk with the ladies of Girls Talk Rock, and and this is actually a big thanks to Barbara Sobel, who connected us, your PR lady, who really has done a great job of connecting us. We had Kurt Malou, who's part of your portfolio of artists that are with Barbara, and he did an amazing job a couple of weeks ago. And I think we've got Doc and the Medic, right, Paul, coming up here this week. He's shaking his head at everybody who's not able to see in the studio. But we really appreciate you being on the shows and sharing so much. And it's so funny because as I've heard all the shows, it's part of my role here running this place, and each one of them I learned something new about you, and I just become the bigger fan every time.
Oh, thank you. It's really been a pleasure talking to Jackie, and just been a lot of fun. So, hey, I could do this all day. And so far I have, but it's all good.
Well, we're glad that you have another 22 hours to make this beautiful music that you do so well. but that's just an amazing job. So I wish you all well with your new music that you're coming out with, and of course I'm going to continue listening to the rest of the show, and I'm just on the edge of my seat. So thanks.
Thank you, brother.
Oh, great. And thanks for your work as well. Thanks for doing the graphics and stuff for us. I appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome. And thanks for keeping Jackie off the street. That's my favorite thing. Just as long as Jackie's in the studio, we know that the rest of the world is safe outside.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's my pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, Tino, we'll talk later on. And I love you, brother. Thank you so much. Marcella, I want everybody to educate themselves about you. And there's this wonderful thing called social media. I want you to take this last segment. I want you to sell everything you can about Marcella Detroit. And I want you to bring the listeners who aren't familiar with you to make them more familiar. So tell us where we can reach you on in social media, and your email address, your websites. And I want you to shout out who you want to shout out to. So take it away, girl.
Okay, great. Well, my new album, thank you, is called Gray Matters, and it's spelled GrayMatterz. I have a website set up especially for that at graymatters.info. You can learn about all the songs, the inspirations for them, get all the lyrics. I also have several other albums out, some digitally, some physical copies. But at the Gray Matters site, you can actually order a signed physical CD from me. But I'm all over iTunes, all the other digital download sites. I'm on Facebook at Marcella Detroit Official. I'm on Twitter, which I don't really use as much, but you can still get me there at Marcella Detroit. If you want to email me, I have a record label in my own publishing company. It's called Make Z Music. So you can email me at Make Z Music, which is spelled just how it sounds, except it's MakeZee music @gmail.com. And I'd be happy to hear from you.
And definitely want, and also too, Marcella, any artist that you can think that would benefit from Jackie's Groove?
Yeah, sure. Let me have a think about it, and I will let you know.
By all means,
Definitely.
because we're going to touch on everything itself. Again, we're going to bring the listener, the common listener, back behind the velvet rope, and backstage. And we talked about before what you do to for preparation. What do you do in the way of food, Marcella? Before you're going, are you one who eats before the gig? Are you one who eats after the gig? Just out of curiosity, what do you like to eat?
I try to keep my my food intake before a gig. Nothing that's really too spicy. It's going to give me any kind of indigestion.
Right.
I keep it really simple, like mild, like roasted chicken or a fish, grilled, or nothing like heavily spicy. And I try to keep myself really well hydrated, especially in California because it's so dry here. It really dries out my vocal cords. I feel it almost every day unless I really keep my water intake up. So that is probably the most important thing. But I have to eat regularly because I have a really fast metabolism and blood sugar gets low. So if it means I have to eat right before a gig, it's not always great, but I'd like to maybe, have an hour and a half before I go on to let my food settle down. But, yeah, that's really about it. Some nice calming tea. Some chamomile with honey is always nice.
For the throat also.
Calming.
And I'm going to reach out to you right now, too, just on that last song, The Vehicle. That is so much of a groove that I'm involved on that I love to play, too. So I'm going to ask you, I'm going to come right up front and say the next project you've got coming out, I would really, really appreciate you giving me an opportunity to lend my talents to your talents. It's, like I said, I've become a fan. So, if you haven't got another percussionist out there that you use, you have one now, because I would love to be able to
thank you.
To put my talents down on you. Do you have anything coming up in the way of live shows in the LA area or the surrounding areas or even across the nation?
Right now, I do not, but I'm working on that, and that will just depend on how the groundwork for the promo does for my new single coming out. But thank you so much. That is really, really sweet. And by the way, that track that you play before, the show, before we actually come on, I'm assuming that's you playing percussion on that, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Right. Well, it sounds great, and that guitarist on there, whoever it is ripping it up.
That's
so
actually
it would
Paul.
be an honor.
That's
Oh,
Paul,
really?
the one you talked to. Yeah, it's Paul playing it.
Oh, wow.
That's me.
And if I can brag also, too, talk about name dropping, the voiceover that's doing the intro, her name is Talia Trigueros. And if those who don't know who Talia is, she's been the on-air personality on KTWV 94.7, The Wave here in Los Angeles. And she's also the voice of the Academy Awards, the Golden Globes, and the Oscars. So she's been a friend of mine since '80, and she wanted to lend her talents and and give a great send off to her friend Jackie. And it's a very, very sexy girl, very, very sexy song. And this is the whole EnterTalk radio crew that's doing it. I mean, when my friends from Santana heard the guitar part, they thought it was definitely a retro Carlos Santana sound. So kudos to Paul. And it's just been a great interview. Marcella, thank you so much for being part of this this new way of radio. I mean, the internet is the way to go, and we're definitely the leader up there. And we want to keep moving forward. We want to keep introducing more shows, and we want to keep bringing independent artists such as Marcella Detroit to the forefront, so we can move her from the independent artist to the superstar that she deserves. And once again, we want to thank you very much for tuning in to Jackie's Groove. This is Jackie Bertoni, brought to you by the EnterTalk Radio Network, your entertainment insider and the leading voice of music talk. And Marcella, thank you, my girl. Godspeed. God bless you. Knock 'em dead, everybody. And check her out, please. Visit Marcella Detroit. Go online and find out what more this beautiful, talented woman has to offer. Thank you again for tuning in. This is Jackie Bertoni and Jackie's Groove. And as I finish all of my broadcasts by saying, peace through music. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit moesguitars.com or their Facebook page. mozeguitars.com, 619-698-1185.
Take a break from politics. Tune in and learn something. WS Radio shows are worth your time and are filled with tips and advice. Add us to your lunch routine, and we'll give you a meal for your mind.
The richness of your life is reflected in the shimmering elegance found at Diolune Design. One-of-a-kind jewelry and pieces from Cynthia Dillon in silver and gold help to express your unique personality. The flowing designs of her creations will empower the way you move throughout your day. Join us online at DIOLUNdesigns.com.
Do you want to be a professional coach? Are you in business trying to make a real difference with people you manage or work with? Have you started a coaching practice that isn't quite getting off the ground? Get the skills you need to be a successful coach today with the Coaches Training Program from Accomplishment Coaching. The Coaches Training Program will show you how to help others focus and be more fulfilled. Whether you want to improve your company's bottom line or create a thriving coaching practice, Accomplishment Coaching can give you the distinctions and practices you need to coach others effectively today. Accomplishment Coaching has spent 6 years developing a cutting-edge coaches training program that will have you ready to coach people professionally in just 12 months, and you don't have to take time off work to do it. To find out more about the Coaches Training Program, just call 1-888-548-6813. That's 1-888-548-6813.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, VinVillage.com, where wine lovers connect. Be sure to tune in weekly to Vin Village Radio for exclusive, in-depth interviews with the who's who in wine and food.